What's up, everybody? JT Sports here, back to you guys with some more breaking NFL news. The Atlanta Falcons have agreed to terms with former second overall pick Marcus Mariota. They are signing him to a 2-year deal. And listen, I understand not too many Falcons fans are going to be thrilled with this signing. There's probably going to be a bunch of you guys who probably comment in the comment section and say that we should have traded for Baker Mayfield. And I understand Falcons fans' frustration. This is a pretty tough time that Falcons fans are going through. You just traded away your longtime franchise quarterback in Matt Ryan to Indianapolis, and you're bringing in Marcus Mariota to replace him. And I know that's not, a popular name, but Marcus Mariota is not a bad quarterback. As a matter of fact, this for him is a long time coming because he should have been the starting quarterback last season. So the thing with Marcus Mariota, he's not a bad QB. The thing with him is that, can he stay healthy? Because when he first got drafted by the Tennessee Titans back in 2015, second overall, his career started off pretty good. His rookie season, he threw 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He had a pretty solid sophomore campaign in 2016, 26 touchdowns to only 9 interceptions, while throwing for 3,426 passing yards. Like, Marcus Mariota got off to a really good start his first 2 years in Tennessee. But where things started to go downhill was the fact that he couldn't stay healthy. And on top of that, Tennessee didn't really have a lot of stability when it came to their coaching staff. They either had a new head coach or they had a new offensive coordinator. So pretty much every single season that Marcus Mariota was the starting quarterback in Tennessee, he had either a new head coach or a new offensive coordinator. So every offseason, he was always having to learn new terminology, having to get acclimated to a new offensive coordinator. And a lot of people overlook how important stability is to the development of a young quarterback. Every successful young quarterback that has been drafted in the first round or has had success, period, has had stability on the coaching staff at least 90% of the time. You're not going to see too many quarterbacks too often overcome a lot of coaching change. Like, the recipe for a young quarterback to be successful involves having stability on the coaching staff. You got to get them into a system, and you have to allow them to improve in that system and develop them in that system. So when you look at Marcus Mariota in Tennessee, with the fact that he couldn't stay healthy and the fact that they were always changing offensive coordinators and whatnot, that kind of was a reason for why his career in Tennessee kind of ended the way it did. And you got to remember, in 2019, he got benched in the favor of Ryan Tannehill. And obviously, we know what happened from that point. Ryan Tannehill took over. He led Tennessee to the playoffs. They had that big Cinderella run where they were defeated by the Kansas City Chiefs in the conference championship game. But Marcus Mariota went to Las Vegas, was the backup for a couple of seasons behind Derek Carr. And during his time, there was a time when he was playing for Las Vegas where there were a small amount of Las Vegas Raiders fans who felt like maybe he should get an opportunity to start at quarterback over Derek Carr. Now, obviously, Derek Carr has continued to play great, and he never really had to worry about Marcus Mariota taking his job. But in the few meaningful snaps that Marcus Mariota took as the backup for Las Vegas, he looked pretty solid to me. And he definitely is warranted a second opportunity. And he's going to Atlanta with Arthur Smith. And him and Arthur Smith already have a little bit of familiarity because Arthur Smith was on the Tennessee Titans staff when Marcus Mariota was still, part of their team and when he was their starting quarterback. And this definitely, some people are going to view this as, a disappointment because there were some people who probably wanted Baker Mayfield. But you got to understand, the Falcons trading for Baker Mayfield doesn't really make a lot of sense because, first of all, Baker Mayfield he pretty much has 1 year deal left of his contract. And on top of that, the Falcons are able to sign Marcus Mariota to a cheap deal that's not going to break their pockets. And this is pretty much a low risk, high reward signing by Atlanta, because like if Marcus Mariota isn't good and he stinks, then Atlanta is probably going to be having one of the top picks in next year's draft. And they're going to have the opportunity to draft either Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, or any of the other quarterbacks who are going to be in the 2023 NFL draft. So with this not really being a strong draft class for quarterbacks and not really a strong free agency class for quarterbacks, Atlanta, you bring in Marcus Mariota, and he's going to be able to add a different element to your offense that Atlanta hasn't had with Matt Ryan. That's going to be, you're going to have a quarterback that's going to be able to run, extend plays, and also on top of that, you can run RPOs, read options. It's going to improve the run game for Atlanta. So now you have Cordell Patterson in the backfield, and you have Marcus Mariota. So you have to worry about Cordell Patterson, and you got to worry about the rushing ability of Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota, for those of you guys who don't remember, is a really good athlete, especially when he gets in space. So I look at Marcus Mariota going to Arthur Smith. This is a good match because Arthur Smith has some familiarity with him. So he's going to know what best works with Marcus Mariota, what is the best way to, bring the best out of Marcus Mariota. He's going to put Marcus Mariota in a system that's going to maximize his strengths and kind of minimize his weaknesses. And really, for Marcus Mariota, what are his strengths? Well, he's really accurate with the football. And on the majority of occasions when he was playing at his best, he was really good when it came to taking care of the football. When he was playing at his best for Tennessee, he was praised mostly for his decision-making. Back in 2016, he had 26 touchdowns to 9 interceptions, so that's a pretty good touchdown to interception ratio. And for Atlanta, if Marcus Mariota pans out, then you have your franchise quarterback of the next 6-7 years. You don't have to worry about going ahead and trying to tank for Bryce Young or CJ Stroud or whatnot. You can go ahead and use that draft capital instead of using it on a quarterback, use it on other positions of need. So on top of that, Atlanta doesn't really have a lot of weapons in the passing game. They really, at this point, only really have Kyle Pitts and Cordell Patterson. So for Marcus Mariota, he's going to have to be able to utilize his mobility, being able to extend plays, get outside the pocket and buy time for his receivers to get open, or he may have to just take it and pick up extra yardage by himself. So I really do think that this is a move that is going to get overly criticized by a lot of people just because Marcus Mariota hasn't started in a year, and a lot of people have the mindset that Marcus Mariota is not a good quarterback. And, that may be the case. This move may not work out how I think it will. However, I don't really think Atlanta really is, losing too much by starting Marcus Mariota as their quarterback next season. Because, this is a team that is obviously in rebuild mode. It was pretty evident when they traded away Matt Ryan just a couple of hours ago before this signing took place, when they traded him to Indianapolis. So Atlanta Falcons fans have to understand the reality that this is a team that right now is in the process of a rebuild. So therefore, they can't just be giving up picks to trade for a guy like Baker Mayfield or Jimmy Garoppolo. They need to keep those picks so they can use those draft picks to build up their team. Now, I am a big fan of Marcus Mariota more because I think he's a really good leader. He's somebody who's not the most vocal, but he's a hard worker. He's somebody who leads by example. You don't really hear anything about him off the field at all, class act. I definitely am rooting for Marcus Mariota to work out in Atlanta. And Marcus Mariota has a lot of upside. There is a reason why he was drafted second overall in the 2015 draft behind Jameis Winston. Not only that, but People forget Marcus Mariota won a playoff game, a playoff game where he led Tennessee from behind. So, I mean, like, this dude is no scrub. He's not a slouch. Like, he may not be the best option at quarterback. There probably are better options out there. However, I really do feel like this does have some potential to work simply for the fact that, you know, Arthur Smith and him already have a little bit of some chemistry. So I'm rooting for Marcus Mariota to work out in Atlanta. I hope he does. He has always been one of my favorite players to watch. And you guys let me know how you guys feel about this signing, because I feel like too many people, when it comes to Atlanta, aren't really understanding, you know, what the franchise is doing. And it's hard for Falcons fans. It's hard for any fans to come to the reality that their team is in a rebuild. However, that's what the Falcons are doing. And for Atlanta, if Mariota doesn't pan out, you're going to have a high draft pick for you to be in position to get CJ Stroud or Bryce Young. And if he does, you know, there you go. You have your quarterback there. So I know Falcons fans are probably going to be upset, but I do really feel like there is some potential for Mariota to have success in Atlanta. So let me know what you guys think about this signing down in the comment section down below. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content, and I will see you guys with another video shortly.